Next up is the survive or survival features you get from your base class. The Barbarian, starting it off strong with Rage, cuts damage in half from bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage you're taking. That's great. They also have the unarmored defense feature, which you probably shouldn't use at this level. Just wearing armor and a shield is going to do better than unarmored defense. Then the fighter, they have a self-heal in the form of Second Wind, and it's actually pretty potent. That'll give them probably 29 points on average of healing. They have 3 uses of it, so it's 29 total. And that's not even using any short rest to regain it. So even without any short rest, you've got 3 of those, and you're going to heal that much. If you get a short rest, you get 1 more back. That's another 9.5 points of healing every time you take a short rest that you get back as a Second Wind. And you can be using a short rest, of course, to heal yourself, but that also means you've got that Second Wind available for the next fight. So very potent. They also get the defense fighting style, +1 to AC when you're wearing armor. That's great. They have the second highest hit point dice, and they have heavy armor training and shield training, so they get an A there. And I forgot to mention that the Barbarian has the highest hit point dice, has a D12, so they get an A on that one. And then they have medium armor and shield training, and so the Barbarian gets an A in the armor category. Then the Monk, struggling in the survivability area because their only 2 features are Deflect Attack, which is actually pretty potent, but it only works against 1 attack per round. And you're encouraging, as you're going to try to be a monk tank, you're encouraging enemies to focus fire on you. They're targeting you, so you're probably going to be attacked a lot more than once per round. And you only get a deflect attack once. But when it happens, when you deflect an attack, it has a 100% chance to succeed, and it's very likely to block all of the damage from that one attack. So you're basically zeroing out 1 attack per round. If you're only being attacked once per round, great. You're fighting one big monster, and that one big monster has 1 attack. That monk is going to shine. You're the king of monk tanks, right? You're taking no damage or very little damage every round, and you've got it double grappled, assuming that they're not huge or bigger, right? So when all the stars align, you're an awesome tank. But that's not the most common scenario, so that's why I still give them a C rating, because they're going to struggle to survive. They have unarmored defense, which is their only form of AC boost, and they have the 3rd highest or 2nd lowest hit point dice, so they get a C on that, and they have no armor and shield training, and so they get a D. And in fact, even if they got training with armor and shields, it would deactivate their martial arts, which you're relying on for your grappling. So even if you could get training in armor and shields, then you don't want it because you're a grapple tank, or most likely a grapple tank. That's how I built it. We'll see later in the builds. All right, then Paladin, I give them a B because they don't have a lot of extra features here. They don't have any kind of a taunt helping them out. They do have 20 points of healing from Lay on Hands that can do for themselves as a bonus action. They have the defense fighting style. They've got the 2nd highest hit point dice. They've got training in heavy armor and shield, so they're rating pretty well there. So they're almost as good as the fighter at this point. The fighter is actually beating the Paladin because the fighter has more self-healing than the Paladin. Kind of crazy. Of course, the Paladin out of combat could be using their action to cast Cure Wounds on themselves. You just don't want to be doing that in combat, because if you spend your action healing yourself, then you are not using your action to apply a tanking effect. Maybe that'll be okay if you landed your compelled duel. Kind of depends on the situation. Then we go back down to the Ranger, who I give a C as well. They don't have any features helping them out. They don't have a bonus action self-heal. All they have is they could Cure Wounds on themselves, which is going to take their action. And so they're not using their action to attack or inhibit enemy movement or anything like that. They're just healing themselves. And they don't have Compelled Duel as a base class. So if they're not attacking, then they're not even applying any form of slow or topple or push to try to keep enemies away. So they're really struggling. They do get the defense fighting style, which is good. They've got the 2nd highest hit point dice. And then they've got training in medium armor and shields, which is good enough to get an A rating at this level for armor. Let's look at some feats that are useful for survival. All right, the 2 origin feats that come to mind are Magic Initiate Cleric. That's interesting for the Paladins and Rangers to get because they can get Healing Word that way, and now they both have a bonus action spell they can be casting to heal themselves. It's not a lot. It's probably going to be 7 or 8 points of healing on average, depending on their spellcasting ability score, but it's better than nothing. Then there's Tough, which is probably always the better choice because it just increases your total hit points by 2 per level. So at level 4, you're getting 8 more hit points. That's benefiting from healing because those hit points can be healed. You also start with those, so you don't have to do anything to start off with those 8 extra hit points. It doesn't take any action economy to have those 8 extra hit points to start off with. You just always have that. And if you can get a short rest, you can heal back up to full, start the next fight with those 8 hit points. So Tough is the best origin feat to go with. Then we have general feats, Durable. This one's actually pretty interesting because it gives you a bonus action self-heal. You can spend your hit dice and heal yourself as a bonus action. Pretty interesting. It also raises your constitution score, which you want a high constitution score as a tank. Then there's Heavy Armor Master, which is pretty interesting. It gives you have to be wearing heavy armor, so only the fighter and paladin can qualify for this. But you get damage reduction. It's only going to reduce the damage by 2, and it's only reducing the damage types of bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. But those 2 points of damage reduction do add up, and if you're encouraging enemies to target you, then you're getting focus fired. So you're going to be attacked, several times per round, maybe 4 or 5 times a round. Maybe you're going to be hit 2 or 3 times. That damage reduction is applying on every hit. So you're going to be blocking 4 to 6 damage per round. It adds up. It's a decent amount. Then we have Mage Slayer, which the most important thing is contributing for you as a tank is you're going to have pretty poor intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws. Now, you're not going to see those a lot at level 4, and that's based on my experience with just the published adventures, third-party published adventures, and even homebrew. You just don't see a lot of those kind of saving throws being forced upon the players at that level. It does happen once in a while. It's probably going to be wisdom. But when you fail those things, it's pretty devastating. And so you might want to consider Mage Slayer to just let you automatically succeed once per short rest against an intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throw. Medium Armor Master, this is interesting because it can boost the Barbarian and Ranger's AC by 1. That will get the Barbarian up to the 19, like a Fighter or Paladin, or that even gets the Ranger to a 20. And now they're beating everybody. That's the highest AC you could get at level 4 without magic items. Then the last, but not least, Shield Master. It gives you the ability to kind of to apply a topple-like effect. You're knocking enemies prone or have a chance to knock them prone when you attack them. It gives you partial evasion to survive those dexterity saving throws better, and dexterity saving throws tend to be damage. Sometimes it can be a grapple, but most often it's a damage effect. So that can reduce damage you're taking. And dexterity saving throws are as common as wisdom saving throws, which is to say you're not going to get a lot of those at level 4, but when they happen, it's when you have to make a saving throw, it's probably going to be constitution, dexterity, or wisdom, and that's going to save some damage. But these are not all rated equal, right? All of these things, if you were just talking about survival features and surviving better, Tough and Mage Slayer are the way to go. They're going to be very often applicable, they're going to be always helpful, and they're going to save you from the most devastating effects in general, right? So you want broadly applicable effects that are going to help you. And so these are the 2 best for survival.